Hi, this is Amit Amarnath. I'm an advocate working at HS Somnath and Associates, a law firm in Bangalore. So I'm here today to tell you a few differences that you actually see in the filmy courts and the courts in real life. So in the movies, what we see is the arguments happen in the morning portion of the day, and right in the afternoon you get the judgment. Judgment actually is a very tedious thing to do because the judge has to put in all the facts, his understanding of the facts, the law, everything, and only then pronounce judgment. And also what we see is that the proceedings of the court happen very fast. I mean, sometimes even if you get 2 dates in a single month, that itself is considered as something really great. So one more important point where the movies kind of mislead the public is the most crucial witness is kept for the last, and mostly for the surprise of the opposite party. Basically what happens is when you want to get in a new witness to the case, you need to file an application before the court, and the opposite party will get an opportunity to file an objection, and the court will hear both the parties, and only when the court feels that such witness is crucial and is very important, only then the judge will allow such a witness. So we usually see in the movies that there are two advocates representing both sides. Both the advocates start abusing each other, accusing each other, shouting at each other, shouting at the judge, everything. There is something called as the decorum of court, which even if the advocate does not like, he or she is bound to follow. So if you start shouting in the court unnecessarily, the judge can ask you to leave the court hall. When someone says court, the perception that comes in their mind is that of the High Court and Supreme Court, the infrastructure that a court has. But district courts are somewhat different because, as shown in the movies, there are two witness boxes. But in the actual courts, there is only one witness box, especially in the district court. So as shown in the movie Jolly LLB, in that movie it was very conveniently showed that PILs can be filed in the district courts. That is something very wrong actually, because a PIL can be filed only before the High Court or the Supreme Court under Article 226 and under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution respectively. After the proceedings of the case, the judge sits and reads the grand judgment. But that's not really how it happens, because the judge and the court does not really have so much time to read the entire judgment. The judge writes the judgment and you need to file for certified copies, and only you can read the judgment. When someone says judge, the word judge, the first thing that comes into anybody's mind is order. When they feel that the decorum of court is not being maintained or not being followed, the judge instead wants the advocates or the parties to maintain the decorum of the court, and he or she does not really bang the table with the hammer.